This is Commissioner's Corner. I'm Rick Anthony. Commissioner's Corner is a series of programs produced at Radnor Studio 21 to help keep residents of Radnor Township informed about the activities, the actions, sometimes the inactivity of the Board of Commissioners and how their decisions affect the quality of life here in Radnor Township. My guest today is Jake Abel, who is 6th Ward Commissioner in Radnor Township. Jake, always good to see you.
Thanks for having me back.
Normally we have these programs soon after a board meeting. There was no board meeting because of weather.
Sure.
However, the issues are still with us, but there have been some other activities in the township that are certainly noteworthy. Having trouble this morning untangling my tongue. We have 15 minutes or so to cover an awful lot of territory. Let's start though with helping people understand. 6th Ward to me, I don't know what it means to me. I know I live in the 6th Ward,
Sure.
but I don't know what the boundaries are, and I'm not sure most other people know what the boundaries are. Generally, what are the boundaries of the 6th Ward?
Yeah,
and
well,
then there are how many wards in the township?
There's 7 wards in the township.
Right.
6th Ward constitutes the far west section of the township. So the 6th Ward ends at Sugartown. It goes from Sugartown to Newtown Road, and then Conestoga to Darby Paley. Those are the general boundaries. But I'm glad you brought that up too, because I've had that question a lot. And so I did work with the township on creating an interactive map, and I think we're close to having what I'm looking for. So if you were to go to the township website and put ward map or interactive map, it would bring this up.
It's up now, or this proposed?
It's live now.
Okay.
I think the one last step is if we can try to, what I want to find, if we're able to do is put a call-out box, so you can put your address in, and then that will pinpoint you right into the map, and it'll give you your commissioner's name, your voting locations, that type of information.
What's the largest ward of the 7?
I think they're all
about equal?
They're meant to be about equal.
In
so everyone has
or density.
In density.
Yeah.
I don't know. They'll have kind of different layouts.
Okay. There was a meeting this week that had to do with Wawa's proposal to put a new facility, store and pumps at the intersection of Lancaster Avenue and Aberdeen. Somewhat controversial, supported by some, but I think the neighbors and the church and the school and some of the other folks would like to see it not happen. What's the status? How did the meeting go? And what do you think the outcome is going to be?
So there was a community development subcommittee meeting on Wednesday night. It seems like so long ago. Wawa came in, and I think they were asked previous discussions to present options, because the plan that they had brought forward had the pumps on the west side of the property, which would put it right along Aberdeen, where more pedestrians would be.
Yeah.
So for pedestrians to get from Aberdeen to the store location, they'd have to cross over all those gas pumps. That would be high traffic and concern for safety of pedestrians, which I agree with. So they came in and they presented 2 different options, where they had the store location, where they had the pumps on the east side, and then the third option was the store would be on the south side, on the back of the property, and the pumps would be along Conestoga.
Conestoga?
It'd be in the front of the property.
Along Lancaster Avenue.
Lancaster, I'm sorry.
Okay, I thought we moved.
No. 6th Ward residents. Okay. Wawa's not coming to Conestoga. On Lancaster. And so the neighbors, they were highly attended by the neighbors, and they expressed their concerns with, quite frankly, all 3 options.
Yeah.
Wawa's under the assumption that their first option by right, and
to put the pumps on the Aberdeen side?
To put the pumps on the Aberdeen
directly
side.
Across from the church and the school.
Correct. And so they had indicated that they are willing, ready right now, to submit that proposal to the planning.
Rather than considering switching.
Well, that was the discussion at the meeting. The way I understand it, when the meeting concluded, was that they were going to submit the original plan to the planning committee.
Over the objection of...
Right.
But, they have to go before the zoning board, though. before they get approval.
If their opinion is correct that they're by right, they would not have to go for zoning.
For any variances of any kind?
They indicated that they would not have to go before the zoning hearing board.
So the bottom line is there's no way to stop this. All we can hope to do, all the residents can hope to do, is to influence somehow the configuration of the site.
Well, if I was talking to residents, I would tell them to focus on, I think they had it right, focus on the process, focus on the safety of the resident. There were some residents who expressed concern and said there's a zoning, part of the zoning ordinance is if the ownership changes, regardless of the same activity being done there, that it has to go before zoning. So that's something that I think the neighbors need to pursue, if that's
Do you know whether the neighbors are prepared to mount a legal?
It was raised during the meeting. I don't know. I haven't talked to that many neighbors.
I would think that'd be pretty costly. And all they could really hope to achieve is just to delay it, but the outcome probably won't be any different. It'd just be delayed. Yeah.
Well, hopefully, Wawa has seemed to have listened to neighbors.
Yes.
Previously, they brought forth a couple of different plans. I hope that they'll continue to work with the neighbors and make this.
They did reduce the number of pumps, didn't they?
I believe
from the original
correct.
plan. Well, it's a real dilemma. I know we can't stop progress and all that good kind of stuff, but what about the traffic? I'm sure the studies have indicated that the traffic will be horrendous.
Yeah, and
at that intersection in particular. When that's, as you know, when that school in the morning, when those buses are in there and those buses are in the afternoon, that's jammed up. And when the parents are lined up to get onto the school property to pick their kids up, it's a holy mess.
Well, it's just not school. I see Commissioner Clark there, and he made this point. I see Commissioner Clark there on Wednesday night when we're picking our kids up from prep class, and we're parked all the way down and having to walk there.
Yeah.
It's not just school, funerals, church.
Yes, that's right.
It's prep class.
Yep.
There's activity in that intersection constantly.
I thought they had agreed, at least were considering at one point, not having access on Aberdeen to the pump.
That was, again, all part
Just
of the
closing it off.
Yeah, well, that was all part of the
screening it.
One resident brought that up in the discussion. There's also discussion about making it a one-way.
Yes.
A no left turn coming out of there.
Yeah.
But that presents other problems about using other streets in the neighborhood.
Nothing stays the same, does it? Nothing stays the same. The Willows. It was mentioned in the newsletter you sent out to your residents. They are still supposed to come to the board with a plan and a cost estimate. Right. When's that supposed to happen?
They're scheduled to be on the agenda for the next meeting on the 25th
of
February, and hopefully, at that time, we'll actually get cost numbers.
Yeah.
I've been asking the past couple months to have this.
But in
plan.
the meantime, as you very well know, the rumors are that the numbers that they have received so far, as preliminary as they may be, far in excess of what has been anticipated by the board with the 1.2 or 3. How much is the Radnor Township putting up?
1.7.
1.7. And they have $1 million from the donor.
Correct.
But as I understand it, they're in, and just this is all reportage. This is what I've heard. 5 million, 8 million, and up.
Yep.
I don't see how it's going to work.
Also, I've
particularly in today's environment where we've just experienced the tax increase.
Sure, and I've seen those same numbers. And what I told the residents in my newsletter is, I'm not willing to support any additional funding on the township side. The Schools Park Reserve raise that money and fill that gap.
Yeah.
I'll support it, but we have other priorities in the township.
Precisely,
and we've given 1.7, and I think a $2.7 million project could be perfectly doable in that location.
It could be. And again, as I've said before, I commend the people who are working so hard on that board to try to get it done, but I don't see how they're going to pull it off. But that's only my opinion.
Yeah, we'll find out more on the 25th.
We have talked in the past, you and I, about business in the community, particularly in the Wayne area. Parking obviously is on the minds of everyone because we don't have any. And when you do find a parking space, and if you have the misfortune of just going a nanosecond beyond the meter, they're there with their little pen and pencil.
Yeah.
It's what, $20 now, a parking ticket?
I don't know.
Fine,
I
something like
haven't paid one in a couple months.
At any rate, is there any talk at the board level about doing something to revitalize the business communities throughout Radnor Township? There are empty stores. There's some big movement going on within the township. You would know better than I. Is that on the agenda?
Yeah, it's been a discussion over the past 12 months. And, something that I think we need to focus on more this year as we're doing these special meetings talking about where we need to put our spending priorities. I think revitalizing the business district, not just the Wayne Business District, but I think the West Wayne business area, Garrett Hill. I think we need to look at all these areas because, the one way we can prevent having to continue to raise taxes, beautify the township,
Yes.
make sure all of our storefronts are filled, and then we'll reap the benefit.
But parking seems to be the key. There had been talk about building a garage at the top of North Wayne. Do you know if there's still any discussion about that?
I have not heard that.
Well, at one point, that seems to be a logical place to put it, at the top of North Wayne, where you already have the one-level park around the train station.
And I've heard residents talk. So you've got the King of Prussia Town Center, and
Yes.
I think if you go down to Lower Marion, both those areas I think may offer free parking. So it's an issue that we are going to have to talk about and be creative with.
I think Haverford Township has done a pretty good job of at least paying attention to I think they have 5 business districts, and they've created a group of business people who have done the studies, come up with a strategy, and are implementing that strategy. I interviewed the chairman of that group, I think 2 years ago, and was really impressed with the progress they seem to be making in Haverford Township. But the same issues: parking, access, and being more business friendly to organization.
That's the key. Similar with stormwater, we don't need to recreate the wheel. If there's people out there who have already had the model, we really need to start working and coordinating and partnering and just taking ideas, figuring out what works best in other places.
Plastic bag. Plastic needs to be on. And I've seen the footage about the horrible, horrendous consequences in the oceans and so on because plastic just doesn't degenerate. But this most recent, was it an ordinance or something that was passed about plastic bags, or the use of plastic bags in Radnor Township?
No, I think it was a proposed topic of discussion for the meeting on Monday night that was postponed because of weather. But it should be on the agenda for next meeting. I don't know enough about it. When I go to the grocery store on Saturday or Sunday, I have 6 recyclable bags with me, so I try to bring no plastic home.
I take them as well, but somehow they never get out of the car. I just forget and come back with more plastic.
I'd like to see where the discussion goes. I don't want to see plastic out there too, but what I don't want to see, and I think what Narberth has done is, I don't know that they put a ban on it, but they just charge 10 cents. I think they charge 10 cents per bag. So to me, that's not taking plastic out of the circulation. That's just delaying it because either someone's not going to care about paying 10 cents per bag, and it's going to get out there. And then the other question on all these ordinances is, how do you enforce it?
Well, and we don't need any more nanny state telling us what we can and can't do, even if it's the right thing to do. One last question. You get out and about quite a bit. You spend a lot of time in the community. What's your sense of the mood of people in your ward? Is there generally a level of optimism about their current state of life and optimism about the future for their kids? Is there anxiety at all about the cost of living because it is going up?
Right.
We see headlines all the time now about food and gas and so on. What are you hearing out there?
Well, cost of living, I think everybody is concerned about, especially after we raise taxes. That's going to be a trend now, Radnor Township. So I've heard that from neighbors. Generally, though, they're positive. They see changes in the 6th Ward. For the most part, they're happy. So we've got Bow Connor Park renovations hopefully scheduled for the spring. Warren Philippone Park will undergo some renovations in the spring, so the tennis courts, the parking lot. Hopefully we can get a baseball infield dedicated there. Streets are being repaved, so around West Wayne, that's important. What they're concerned about is stuff they see, the visuals they see. So when they drive around the park, drive around the street, see wires hanging.
Yes.
Do we need that? The
Yes.
message we want to send our kids that it's okay to be around a wire hanging to the ground.
And the potholes. We ended the last one on potholes. I hit a couple of beauties this week. I mean, I was sure I had lost the tire or it was flat. I mean, it was so deep.
Right.
What's going on? And they're right on the edge of the road, and so to avert them, you have to get in the next, the oncoming traffic.
Yeah, and I've had other neighbors email me about Newtown Road,
Yeah.
Brook Road.
Yeah. Darby Paoli.
Yeah, the township's aware of it.
The mother of them all is on Darby Paoli Road.
The township's aware of it. I saw emails going back and forth this week with PennDOT.
Yeah.
So people are aware of it. Now we've just got to push them to
Jake,
take action.
I think we'll be talking about potholes for the next few meetings, I think.
Well, hopefully not.
Well, with the weather. So thank you as always for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for watching. This has been Commissioner's Corner, 6th Ward, with your Commissioner, Jake Abel, who does an able job getting out about in the township. Thank you for watching. Till next time, take very good care of yourself.